Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me Friday morning. I have COVID for the fourth time, so it's going to be a shortened session today, but I have some important lessons to talk about, and then we'll talk about the SPY and what could potentially happen. Also, you have PCE numbers coming out any minute, so we'll see what happens to Dow futures. I mean, right now they're just flickering, so we'll get back to that in a minute. But first, the two important lessons. First, when you make a mistake, if you make a bad trade, you have to understand why that trade was bad. For instance, if you entered into puts and you were expecting the market to give up and the momentum yesterday was strong and the call volume expiring today was a lot stronger than the put volume, next week it's more even. But going into Thursday and Friday, calls much outweighed puts, which told you we were going to finish strong on Thursday. Now, gave you my bull case scenario. My bull case scenario yesterday morning was that we breach 402 and we head towards 406. Maybe we stop at 404. I didn't actually think we'd get to 406. Remember, I said it's possible by Friday or Monday. Bull case scenario, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we would be at 410 on the SPY. Do I think that's going to happen today? I really don't know. I mean, again, for this whole week, I've been telling you the institution's mentality, big money's mentality is just to continue to buy the dip. Something dips, they buy the dip. If you look at any chart, whatever it is in the morning, they're buying the dip. Whether it's, well, we'll get past that. So again, the lesson is understand your mistake and that you don't do it again. Next, talk about two trades, and I'll compare that. My Roku trade from yesterday, I returned 100% and 150% on my two options. What did I do? I mentioned that I'd probably be able to get anywhere from 200 to 500% if I had held longer. But since I wasn't feeling good because I have COVID, I was like, I'm just going to sell and not really pay attention to the market yesterday, all that much attention. However, when the market was rebounding, Roku was still throwing up and stuff. Now, here's my strategy with Roku. I saw Netflix giving back some of its demand pre-market when the market opened, and I said, okay, Netflix is so much better than Roku. I just used, a varying principle that if Netflix goes down, Roku is going to go down. I was correct about that. Now I'll give you an example of a bad trade. Going into Tesla's earnings, I thought Tesla would miss. I decided to play 6 contracts, not a whole lot of money, 6 NEO contracts. I meant for 6 contracts, $60, $360. What happened? I was incorrect about Tesla earnings, and Tesla went up, Rivian went up, Ford went up, Lucid went up, NEO went up. So again, I understand my mistake. My mistake is I was on the wrong side of an earnings call that had to be with a related stock. Now, the reason I played NEO was because it was a cheaper way than actually having to play Tesla, because if you play Tesla and you're on the wrong side of that, man, you're in super trouble. All right, so we're going to talk about the SPY ranges. Again, pre-market, we were dipping a little. Now the Dow is back to like -4 points. The Nasdaq's on to -52 points. Core PCE came right in line with expectations. So again, you're going to come back to the same mentality that you had yesterday, the day before, where they continue to buy the dips. Do I agree with that? Hell no, I don't agree with that. I think some companies need their valuations a lot lower. When you have these buy now, pay later, and I mentioned them a couple times, Upstart and Affirm, man, consumer credit is going through the roof. People cannot afford to pay their credit cards, cannot afford to pay their housing mortgages, cannot afford to pay their car payments, their phone payments, and things like that. Yet you have companies like American Express who did very well. They just came out with earnings, and American Express is up 5% this morning. You have Visa that came out. They did well with earnings. They're at 1.19%. So, yeah, what's the prediction for there? Those two stocks, or MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Capital One, will probably run. However, you must get out before they turn around, because at some point later in the year, they're going to come in and people are going to default on their credit card payments. People are not going to be able to cover their minimums. Interest rates are going to continue to go higher. So there's going to be a world of hurt for the average retail consumer. And these companies that are making and banking so much money off the retail consumer and their use of credit cards, being Visa, American Express, MasterCard, are going to suffer. Then you have the buy now, pay later. Well, I mean, if you can't get a real credit card, you can always sign up for Affirm or Upstart or one of these companies where it's a buy now, pay later. So again, I would just be wary of that. We can talk about the SPY real quick. SPY is sitting at just under 404 pre-market. And just look at the 5-day chart. What does it look like? It looks like they're buying the dip. When you look at the 1-month chart, what does it look like? It looks like they're buying the dip. You've had 5 straight days of inflow. Prior to that, you had 3 days of outflow. Prior to that, 4 days of inflow. So yes, there was a little dip in there where we went from 400 back down to the 393 level, and now we're back at 404. So again, let's talk about the SPY. Let's talk about the dark pool levels. As far as the SPY goes yesterday and the S&P, let me just share with you some dark pool levels that I saw on the S&P, on the SPY yesterday. $2.7 billion worth of the SPY was most likely purchased at 435 cents. Now, put that in perspective to the day before when you had 3 billion and 1 billion at the same target level, $400.40 and $400.54. So right at that $400 level, you're going to see support in the market. So my support level says 400. If we get down to 400, I'm going to go into SPY calls. Why? Because they continue to buy the dip. So that's the first thing I note today. I have a strategy. If we go down to that level, I know what I want to purchase. Next step higher, we're going to about just under 404. Let's pull up the dark pool level so you guys can see it with me. Again, I use Discord. This is what I do every morning. I go and pull 2 things up. The first thing I do is I look at the top flow of all options. And you've got SPX, which is the S&P. You've got the Russell, Tesla, Apple, First Solar, Energy, Meta. The VIX is on here, which isn't so great. On the reverse side, you have SPY, Amazon, QQQ, Netflix. It's right there streaming. And then you have NVIDIA, which is, I'm surprised AMD is not here. You see a little PayPal. You can see a little coin or something related to that, maybe a block. So let's let's go to the dark pool levels. Just make sure you guys can see this with me. Okay, so again, 498. You got 19 billion. So maybe 498 acts as a bit of resistance. Where I said 400, maybe it doesn't go down to 400. Maybe it goes down to right around 401. In fact, the number that I've been following for a couple of days has been $401.06. So maybe that's an entry point. If we drop below that, understand there are 3 huge levels of amounts here. So we got 19.92 billion, almost 20 billion, 20 billion, 20 billion, all within a relative range. You're talking about 396, which I mentioned yesterday. 396. Let's just say that's support. The next level higher is really around 399. I know the dark pool level says 398.36, but again, 396. Then you go to 399. Then you go up to like 401.06 is the number I'm watching. Again, here are your 3 dark pool levels. Now, I mentioned this yesterday and the day before. There's kind of a ghost zone or very little supply demand above 400 going all the way to 406. So when you see a small dark pool level at 403.59, which is probably where we're sitting pre-market. Let's just see where we're sitting pre-market. 403.80. So yeah, we're damn close to 403.59. Small dark pool level. So what does it tell me? Again, downside, we can go down to 401. Let's just say flat, maybe a little lower. Upside. Well, the upside is we're going back to the 404. Since there's very little supply demand out there at that level, I could see us shooting right back to where we closed at yesterday, or not close, but before close when we spiked up to 406. And then again, if they continue to buy the dip, and if big money continues to buy the dip, then you're going to see 410 on the SPY. I mean, look at Tesla. I've mentioned Tesla. You have 20 trading days. Tesla is up 60%. I believe it's up probably 2% pre-market. So now you're talking about a Tesla move, which is like a major technology stock, right? And they have a huge valuation. And the PE, the forward PE, finally went sub 30. Now that they had earnings out, let's just take a look at where Tesla's forward PE is, because I'm very curious about that. If you're back in the mid 40 range, it just doesn't make sense to me. So the forward PE is like 38 and 41. So 38, 41. If Tesla's up 1.73%, now you're talking about it's closing in on 40 again. So you're talking about forward PE of 40. I get it. Tesla's a great company and everything, but still, it's a little overvalued in my own mind. Does that mean it's going to go down? No, because retail still buys it. You have big block trades. You have huge funds that are buying it. Kathy from ARK's been buying 100,000 shares a day for, the good part of the last 2 weeks. Yes, please hit the likes. Guys, I got to end it early today. Like I said, I had COVID yesterday. I was feeling superior. I was, today I feel terrible. I did not sleep. I cannot breathe. I just sound like I have emphysema and I sound like I'm dying. So I'm going to head over to Discord. I'll answer any questions. If you have questions, put them in the trader chat on Discord. You want to ask me, I'll try and get to them. Again, if you want to think about something like somebody's mentioning, hey, thoughts on AMD. Well, Intel came out with earnings. Intel's earnings sucked ass. What is that going to do? It's going to affect the whole chip sector, whether it's NVIDIA, AMD. Now, you could take someone like Jim Cramer, who would be like, oh, if they sell NVIDIA or AMD, these are super companies. I'm just going to buy for my charitable trust. Us, we're day traders. We trade options. You're looking to get in and get out. So, yeah, I would use the dark pool levels to look at NVIDIA. I would, pull up Discord. I'll do one for you guys, and then I'm going to get out of here. So we'll do TR, DP levels, and we'll do AMD since that was the question. I think that was the question. I get so forgetful. Okay, so we're AMD up. We're looking at the dark pool levels. You're seeing major support, or we've seen major support. I say around $68, but at 67.72, which is close to 68, at 69.42. Again, you're seeing billion, 71.11. So where's AMD sitting this morning? AMD is sitting at AMD probably around 72 pre-market. Okay, 73.25 pre-market. So I'd be focusing on this number right here, 74.51. If 74.51 turns into a rejection, then I would assume AMD is going back down to the $71 range. If 74.51 turns into support and they start buying the dip from AMD, there's a very small dark pool right here. So you're at 74.51. If you break to the upside, you'd probably see 78. So bear case scenario, AMD, 71. Bull case scenario, AMD, 78. Again, I'm heading over to Discord. I'm sorry for the short session. Please join me Monday morning, and we'll go forward from there. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I certainly hope I start feeling better. See you guys later.